So without further ado, let's get to the list.
Alright, thank you Batman for that awesome intro. So now, coming in at number 5, we have Batman from the Gotham City strategy game. As you can see here, he has improved movement, ignores hindering terrain, and he starts with a trait, utility belt. At the beginning of the game, choose a standard attack or damage power that Batman doesn't possess somewhere on his dial. Batman can use that power this game. So he can pick any attack or damage power that he doesn't already have on his dial to use for that whole game, which is great. He does have Perplex, Prop, and Outwit somewhere on his dial, so you can't pick those, but you can pick, say, Pulse Wave, or maybe Shape Change if you wanted some more defense. He's 115 points. He starts with Running Shot, an 11 attack, 17 defense with Toughness, and a 2 damage with Perplex. He does have Indomitable and a 6 range with 2 targets. Alright, and then he also has this awesome attack power that says Batman can use Incapacitate. If he has no action tokens, he can use it as a free action, which is going to be great with his 2 targets that he has, which is really strong attack power. It feels very Batman-like to throw a couple batarangs at some guys. So he's overall very good. Just the ability to pick any attack or damage power you might need that game, depending on what it is. You know, maybe you want Poison, maybe you want Penetrating Blast, Exploit Weakness, Range Combat, Close Combat Expert, really whatever you need. And then having already all those Perplex, Outwit, or Prob somewhere on his dial is great. And of course, Stealth with the improved movement is always helpful. He just really feels like a good, utility belt equipped Batman with a little bit of prep time going into any kind of fight, feeling prepared. And for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 5. Alright, and coming in at number 4, we have all the Shifting Focus Batmans. The first one here from the Elseworlds set, and the other 4 from the World's Finest set. So they all have the Shifting Focus Batman trait, where you can give him a free action if you begin your turn on the map and replace him with another character with this trait on the same click number. But we'll start with looking at this one. This is one of my favorite Batman sculpts. This one and the rare one where he's jumping over that stuff there. But he's got improved movement hindering, and he's got this special movement power. You can give Batman a free action if he occupies hindering terrain or no opposing character can draw a line of fire to him, and place him into a square of hindering terrain within 6 squares in line of fire. And he's also got some smoke cloud there. So he's really good. I like him a lot for starting off with the Shifting Focuses, because you can just place him as a free action, and then you can switch to one of the other ones you might need. He's got the Batman team ability, he's got some willpower and exploit weakness to start with, and he's just really the stealthy Batman of the bunch. And the next one we'll look at is the martial artist Batman that doesn't actually have anything special, just mainly some standard powers, but he does have some special stats. He's got charge, and he's got that awesome 12 attack value. He's got some combat reflexes there, and a 3 damage. No range, no Batman team ability. This is really just the running out in there, punching everybody in the face kind of Batman. But for only 60 points, all of these guys are only 60 points, so those kind of stats on 60-point characters is great to see. The next one we'll look at is the Detective Batman here. He's got a special trait here, Study Your Enemies Well. When an opposing character within line of fire hits with an attack, place a study token on this card. Then he's got the special damage power. I've discovered what I need to know. Batman can use Outwit as if he had a range value of 8. When he does, if he removes a study token from this card, he can counter an additional power on the targeted character, or the use of Outwit will last until your next turn, even if this power is lost. So it's really awesome. He gets an 8 range Outwit, and if he has a study token from seeing an opposing character hit with an attack, then he can remove that to either outwit a second power on that character, or to keep the outwit in effect if he wanted to, shifting focus to a different Batman to then potentially make an attack. He also has the Batman team ability, and he starts off with 7 movement with sidestep and a 10 attack with smoke cloud and 17 defense with willpower. So he's also pretty good. He's that detective outwit kind of Batman. The next one here is the rare one. He's got improved movement, elevated terrain. He's got a special attack power that he can use energy explosion and incapacitate. And then he's got some range combat expert there. This one is, like I said, one of my favorite sculpts on a Batman, doing an awesome handstand on the gargoyle. So he starts out with some nice running shot there, 11 attack with that special, 17 energy shield deflection, and a 2 damage. He's got a 6 range with double target, so he can make good use of that energy explosion and that incapacitate. This is the gadget using batarang throwing Batman. I really like how the shifting focus captured different aspects of Batman just perfectly. But then we actually got a new Batman in Elseworlds that also has the shifting focus Batman trait. He's got another damage power, which he can use Perplex, and as a unique modifier, he can use Perplex to target all other friendly characters within 4 squares, and line of fire choosing the same combat value other than damage to modify. So that's pretty awesome, and he's got the new card, so we can take a look at his whole dial there. He starts with that for the first 2 clicks. He's got some leap climb, he's got that Batman team ability, a little bit of willpower. So this is kind of like the more team-friendly Batman that's going to perplex up everybody on the team, giving them +1 attack, defense, movement, range, whatever you need except for damage. But yeah, for only 60 points, you got a good range attacker, a good close attacker, super stealth movement guy, you got the super detective outwit, and you got some team perplex. So for all that, for only 60 points, is one of the best versions of Batman you can possibly get. But they're all going to come in at number 4. Alright, and coming in at number 3, we have Batman from the Rebirth set. For only an uncommon figure, this guy is pretty amazing. He has a trait, leading the charge. When Batman makes the first attack during a turn and hits, until your next turn, other friendly characters with the Justice League keyword get protected outwit. So that alone is really awesome if you can make him the first one to make an attack in a turn. And as long as you hit, the rest of your characters get protected outwit. At least the rest of your Justice League characters get protected outwit, which is really awesome and super helpful. But only a small piece of what he does. He also has this other trait. Yeah, he does that. Lines of fire drawn to Batman are blocked unless the line of fire crosses only unoccupied clear squares. So he doesn't have Batman team ability or regular stealth, but this trait is actually much better because even if he's in hindering terrain, even if your opponent ignores it, they still can't draw a line of fire to him because of his own trait. Even if they ignore elevation terrain and he's behind it, they still can't target him. If they can destroy walls and he's behind a wall, they still can't target him because it's his own trait. It doesn't matter if they can ignore any type of terrain or characters or whatever. If it's not unoccupied clear squares, they can't see him at all, which means he's pretty much only going to be in close combat. And he does have a 17 defense with some combat reflexes. He's got that Indomitable, some Outwit, and the Outsider's team ability, which, if you don't know what that does, is a free action. Choose a character that's within 6 squares on line of fire, friendly or opposing, and they can't have their combat values modified. So that can knock out any perplexes, any energy shield deflection, combat reflexes, anything like that. They can't use range combat expert, close combat expert, nothing like that. It's really powerful team ability, and that plus Outwit and the super stealth is just nuts. And that's not even looking at his special movement power yet, which gives him charge, leap climb, and sidestep. And when he breaks away, you may choose an opposing character he breaks away from. And if you do, after resolutions, you can place that character up to 2 squares within line of fire away from its current square, which is always great. You can actually run in with charge and then try and break away with sidestep and move that character away, getting them out of position, setting up a follow-up attack from the rest of your team is pretty crazy. And all that for only 85 points. He is super awesome, and he's coming in at number 3. And coming in at our number 2 pick, we have the rare Batman from the Batman animated series set. Now he starts with a trait, Infiltration. If you do not choose the map when placing characters during game setup, you may place Batman in a square of hindering terrain within 5 squares of his starting area. Funny enough, that sounds really great, but I never actually used it. Most of the time, it's better to just keep him in your starting area and have somebody carry him out. And I'll explain why in just a second. His other trait, Batarang. Batman may start the game with the Batarang equipped. Batman may activate and equip Batarang as a free action instead of a range action and doesn't roll to KO it. And then we'll take a quick look at what the Batarang does. Its effect is a range, improved targeting, elevated hindering in characters, modify damage -1, make a ranged attack targeting a single character within 4 squares in line of fire, and then roll a d6 on a 1 through 3. Immediately after resolutions, KO the Batarang. So being able to do that for free is really the greatest thing about this Batman, and not having to KO the Batarang is great too. So the reason I like to carry him is if you can pair him with a good Justice League or Batman family type character that can carry him a long distance, you can then activate that Batarang as free, even minusing your damage by 1. Not really a big deal if you perplex up his damage or enhance his damage. You can carry him up tons of squares, use his outwit that he starts with, and then make that free attack. And also sidestep if that 4 squares isn't quite going to cut it. And as you can see by his dial, he's got an incredibly long dial with good stats the whole way down. At 12 attack to start with, 18 defense with Indomitable. Of course, he's got Batman team ability, and he also has the special on his defense that gives him combat reflexes and toughness, and adjacent opposing characters can't use Mastermind, which can be nice. It hasn't really come up much for me, but Mastermind characters can be really annoying, so just having that option is pretty handy. He's 125 or 60 points. I've had lots of success with him at 125 points, but he is good at 60 point value, at the 60 point value as well. And he's just really great. The sculpt on him is super awesome. It looks like it's straight out of the animated series. I love it. I've used this Batman 100,000 times, and I will continue to use him. But he is coming in at number 2. Alright, but before we get to our number 1 pick, we've got a few honorable mentions to talk about. We have the brand new Batman from the Justice League Unlimited set. Only 70 points, but he does quite a bit for the team. He's got the Justice League Unlimited trait, which at the beginning of your turn you can roll a d6 on a result of 6. You can remove an action token from another friendly character with a Justice League keyword that's 100 points or less. So it's kind of like leadership for Justice League characters. Then he also has this awesome attack power. I'll take it from here. Opposing characters within 6 squares in line of fire using Impervious, Shape Change, or Super Senses decrease their roll for those powers by -1. 6 is always a success. So that alone is super helpful. He does start with Running Shot with a 12 attack and some Perplex there with a 3 damage. Batman team ability is always handy as well. I would love to put this guy on the list. The reason he's an honorable mention is just he's a little too squishy. 17 with combat reflexes is not a bad defense with the stealth, but he doesn't have any kind of willpower until he gets it later as an actual defense power, which is not the best. And really it just takes one good attack to really just kind of cripple him or take him out altogether. He is very helpful though, and if you use any of the team-up cards, he could be exponentially better. Like this one, for instance, whenever he's paired up with a Superman and a Wonder Woman, anytime they roll a 3 in an attack roll, they get +3 to their attack. That's one of the best cards for him, in my opinion. But again, just on his own merits without any team-up cards. He's just a little too squishy for my liking, but he is very useful, so I wanted to give him a shout-out. Then over here from Elseworlds, we have this rare Batman. He's got a trait, World Without a Superman. Modify this character's attack value by +2 when attacking only characters of 50 points or less, or modifies attack -1 when attacking only characters of 150 points or more, which is actually really good nowadays. Most characters are pretty low points. He's really good at taking out support characters and like secondary attack characters that are kind of just 50 points or less. Getting +2 to his attack, he's going to wind up with a 13. And there's not too many characters that are 150 points or more nowadays, so it's not too bad. And then he's another special on his attack power that he gets later, which is dead, dead, dead. When a friendly character is KO'd, you may place Batman in the KO'd character square. Unique modifier. If you do, modify his combat values by +1 until the end of your next turn. Which is pretty great. Since it's not at the beginning of his dial, sometimes it doesn't come up. But when it does come up, you can make pretty good use of it, so it's not too bad. And then he's got this defense power where he can combat reflexes and toughness. I would love to see some improved movement hindering from him. Unfortunately, they didn't give him that. But he does have Batman team ability and Indomitable and good movement with range and then some sidestep and the 11 attack with precision strike and 3 damage with outwit. So he can get through a lot of different defense powers there. And he really feels like Batman playing him. I don't know what it is. I've had a lot of fun playing this guy. But he's not like super effective, so I just wanted to give him an honorable mention. And then our last honorable mention over here is Batman from the World's Finest Fast Forces. One main reason I really like him is he's got a trait where if he's adjacent to a friendly character named Superman, he can use probability control, but only for friendly characters' attacks. And also, his other trait, need an equipment drop at my location. When building your force, you may include the weapon drop without paying for it. So basically what the weapon drop does is you can roll a d6 and turn it to that click number, and then the equipped character can use one of the powers displayed on it, and then you have to roll a d6 and turn it to another click number, and then so on and so forth. So it does have a lot of good powers on it, but it is kind of random for what you'll get, so you can't rely on it too much. But it is very handy to get for free when you play this Batman, and he is at 100 or 50 points, and he has this awesome movement power that when he has no action tokens, he can use running shot. When he has 1 action token, he can use charge, and when he has 2 action tokens, he can use sidestep. And I just really love the kind of flow of that. If you were to carry him up first turn, second turn he has no action tokens, he could running shot. Third turn, when he has 1 action token and he's actually close enough, he could charge on somebody. And then after he's got the second token, he could potentially break away with sidestep. And then next turn, he could still try and sidestep while he has 2 tokens before he clears. So that's a lot of fun to use. He's also got toughness and willpower on his defense. And then just taking a quick look at his dial there, of course he's got Batman team ability. He's got 9 movement with that special, 11 attack, incapacitate, 18 defense with the toughness and willpower, and then outwit and a 5 range. And he's got a pretty long dial too, so he's been a lot of fun for me. I do like playing him at the 50 points sometimes just to get outwit and the weapon drop, and he makes a decent support character for that, or a good attacker for 100. So those are my honorable mentions. On to our number 1 pick. And finally, coming in at our number 1 pick, he is Vengeance. He is the Knight. He is Trinity War Batman. Like it could be any other, you guys knew it had to be Trinity War Batman. But if you didn't know, I will inform you why. He's got improved movement, elevated terrain. He's got a trait that adjacent friendly characters with a lower point value and the Justice League keyword can use the Batman ally team ability. Friendly characters named Superman or Wonder Woman don't have to be adjacent or a lower point value. But the main reason, of course, the utility belt attack power. Give Batman a free action and choose a standard attack or damage power. And you can use that power till your next turn. being able to choose from any attack or damage power as a free action is nuts. 150 points, he is crazy powerful. At 85, he's still pretty good too. He also has a damage power. World's greatest detective and strategist, Batman can use Outwit and Perplex, and when he has no action tokens, he can use Probability Control. So having access to all 3 of the greatest support powers in the game, in addition to being able to pick any attack or damage power, and giving friendly characters the Batman Ally team ability is just too good. And then just taking a look at his stats, he starts with a running shot with a 9 movement, a 12 attack, an 18 defense with toughness, and a 3 damage. He's indomitable. He has a 5 range for double target, and of course he's got that Batman team ability. Now he doesn't ignore hindering terrain, but there's lots of ways to give him improved movement hindering. The Superman from this Trinity War set also had a similar trait where he would give everybody the Superman team ability, so that would allow Batman to move and see through hindering if you played him with that Superman. But there's also plenty of equipment objects nowadays that can give him improved movement, hindering terrain, or flight, or whatever you might want to throw on him. But yeah, just he's got a decently long dial. He's got good stats the whole time. He's got that insane 12 attack up front, and just being able to choose any attack or damage power and having all 3 of the best support powers already. This is really the ultimate Batman. There's the most fanboyish Batman there is. This is Batman with all the prep time in the world to just take on anything that comes his way. Superman, Darkseid, who cares? Get out of the way. This is freaking Batman. But anyway, he is the best, my favorite, and I don't know if they'll ever top him. That does it for this top 5 list. Alright, but that's enough out of me. Batman, why don't you wrap this up for us?
That does it for this top 5 list. Let me know in the comments who we should go over next, and what your favorite Batman figures are. If you like this list, leave a like on this video. And swear to me that you'll subscribe. Until next time, don't forget